All right, everybody come on back in. We've got another couple of sessions. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. I don't mind. All right, thank you for paying attention and coming back in. And as soon as we get settled, we'll get started again. Thanks.
All right, so I promise in this next session, you're going to have lots of opportunities to talk to each other. Lucky for all of you, including me, I am not the after lunch entertainment. So if the folks in the back could please grab a seat. And I want to explain how we're going to spend the next 45 minutes until Larry gets the hook out. So the purpose of this next session is to really get people in the room talking to each other. So we're going to be going through sort of a series of activities to get you ready to talk to each other, and then we're going to get a little bit bigger groups, and we're going to end up back in a whole group together. So first thing, I want to practice, though, because I am going to need to call you back to attention a couple of times during this session. And so what I want to do is give you 30 seconds to talk to your neighbor, talk to anybody. And then when you hear the timer on my phone ring, I want you to bring your attention back to the front of the room and quiet down. Does that make sense? Okay, so you can talk about your plans for Thanksgiving, you could talk about what you ate for lunch, whatever you want to talk about, introduce yourselves, get to know each other. But when you hear the timer, come back, attention to the front. Ready, set, go. That was your 30 seconds. We might need another practice round. That was just a practice round. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I want everybody to notice, especially on the ends of the tables and in the middle, there are some Post-it notes like this one. So this is an exercise like we did in school, take one and pass it on, except in this case it's take like 9 or 10 and pass it on. So give yourself a good little mini stack of those sticky notes. Make sure that everybody has at least a mini stack, because everybody's going to be doing a little bit of writing as our next part of this facilitated discussion. So give a couple minutes for everybody to get a little stack of Post-it notes. Safik, I see your hand. Yes, and if you need pens, Safik has pens in the back. That gentleman needs a pen over there, Safik. I've got some pencils as well up front. All right, so when you've got your own little mini stack of Post-it notes, go ahead and raise your hand so that I know you're ready. I'm going to tell you in just a minute. Okay, so now we're going to get into the actual activity. So what I want you to do with these cards, and we're going to do this in rounds. It's going to be about 5 minutes of just individual time writing some things down. One idea or question or thought per card. So that's why you have a little stack, because you're only going to put one thing per sticky note. So the first thing that I want everybody to spend a little bit of time writing some ideas down on is, what would your dream be? Given everything that we've discussed this morning, given the challenges related to Sigma, given the challenges for agriculture, given all of the environmental and conservation possibilities, what would your dream be to see for this region that we have there, Sequoia to the sloughs, or for this basin? So one idea per sticky note. Write down some of those dreams. Yes, Robert?
Is there like a time horizon, like is something realistic, like within 5 years, 20 years, whatever?
Dream big. You can put your own time horizon on it. You could say, like, within 2 years, I want to see this, or within 30, I want to see this. So take a couple minutes, write down some of your dreams, one per sticky note. All right, so now that you've gotten down a couple of your dreams, you can keep writing dreams if you want to, but I'm also going to invite you to write down challenges that you see. And I know many of us are very aware of the challenges, so any challenges that have come up as we've been having these conversations this morning, other challenges that you know about because of where you live or who you are or where you work, the particular work that you do. What are the challenges to seeing some of these big dreams that we have accomplished? Again, just one per post-it.
Logan,
Yes?
is it what challenge per post-it note?
One per, yeah. So each post-it kind of has its own identity. And you can think about whether those are socioeconomic challenges, environmental challenges, demographic challenges, other challenges. All right, I'm going to add on one last category for you to think about. And this category is going to be resources. And these can be resources, think broadly, right? These can be people, these can be organizations, these can be lands, waters, relationships, funding sources. So what are the resources that might be available to help bridge the gap between the dreams that you identified and the challenges that might be in the way? Help us get over those challenges, or around, or underneath, or through. So. All right, so go ahead and kind of wrap up your thought there. You can keep thinking, you can keep writing more down as we move into the next section. But now's what I promised you, you're gonna get to talk to people. So what we're gonna transition into now, you're gonna hold on to those Post-it notes. And we're gonna first pair up. Not yet, but when I say go, we're gonna pair up. And I'd like you to try to pair up with someone that you don't necessarily know, or at a minimum that you didn't come here with them today. So if you're sitting next to someone that you work with or someone that you are familiar with, maybe turn around or turn forward to the person in front of you so that we're getting a little bit of mixing in these conversations. If you feel motivated to stand up and go move to a different location to talk with somebody who has caught your attention throughout the course of the morning, that's cool too. But don't feel like you have to get up and move around. I think that even within our fairly fixed seating, there's opportunities for finding people around you that you haven't had a chance to talk with. So the purpose of this conversation, and we'll see how the energy goes, but I've planned about 10 minutes for this conversation, is to give you a chance to share what the things are that you just wrote about. So what are those dreams? What are those challenges? What are those resources? And listen for what your conversation partner is sharing with you. What did they think about when they think about dreams and challenges and resources in terms of moving this really, really big work forward? Any questions before we start this part? No? Okay. So remember, when you hear my alarm thing on my phone, I'm going to try to make it loud through a microphone. That means, what does that mean? Stop. Otherwise, I might have to unleash one of the people in the room who I know is a really good facilitator, and there might be, quiet coyote or something like that involved. So, all right. Go ahead, find a partner, someone new to you, and share with them some of the things that you're thinking about. You guys are doing such a good job.
Oh, thank you so much. Last time I wrote in all those things because I was not in the path of this management. It was fun.
Yeah.
So it's like really awesome. Coming from an environmental science, how was it? Exactly. And I'm like, how much these conversations are actually getting audited, which is like kind of like my second providing them water.
My family is farmers and ranchers in South Dakota, so I'm here just because we got my
Sorry.
I have $1,000. Should we go with the vision just reading this morning about that. And, yeah, and win-win solution. Okay, that's what I'd like to see. Yeah.
May I keep this spot here for even 2 seconds on the microphone?
Sure.
Go, go.
All right, how about needs?
Or resources.
Yeah,
Challenges, that would be a challenge.
that would be challenges. So the association needs additional board members. Okay, so, and
Now on your front row.
I think I only need the three.
another challenge. I'm not sure what all of those list of things were.
Yeah,
Local
yeah, I think we're
access to
good.
the Tule River. So we have a river that runs through the city of Porterville, and there are no safe access points to it in Porterville. It would be a wonderful, safe, fast way for people to get access to the natural environment.
Yes.
We have our bus transportation that runs right by, across the Tule River on the bridge, stops by the Tule River. If we could provide
All right, if I can have everybody's attention back. I promise you're going to get to talk to each other again in just a couple minutes. But if I can have everybody's attention back up to the front. All right, so what I want you to do next is take your partner that you were just, or triad, I saw some triads, that's totally cool, and join together with another pair or triad and continue the conversation. So share some of what you were talking about with your partner, listen to the other group. The added ask for this section is that as a group, you look at the similarities and differences, what's unique and what's in common between some of your cards. And as we're wrapping up this 10-minute section, I want you to delegate one member of your group, of your small group, to come up and post some of these cards on these larger sheets up here. So we'll post dreams over here, we'll post challenges in the middle, and we'll post resources over there. So this is going to enable the Watershed Partnership to have sort of a written record of some of the conversations that happened today, in addition to the other records that we're creating of what happened today. So talk together, share, listen, and then as a group, decide what you want to post, and you can post as much as there's space for, and we can always double up. But decide what you want to post in dreams, what you want to post in challenges, and what you want to post in resources. And I will give you a heads up maybe 3 minutes before we're going to wrap up this small group part so that people start actually coming up and doing that posting. All right, any questions before we get started? All right, have at it. Hey, you made it. It's good to see you. How are things going?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
We got that grant in today. Taylor and I just for the
Yeah,
last
just
like,
a
48 hours.
large scale
Amazing. You guys
land
are
retirement that makes sense
Well, I was asking
for
but-
habitat conservation, endangered species conservation,
Well,
but also
feel free to
meets
jump into any small group that you
the needs
feel
of,
drawn to,
you know,
or just hang out.
disenfranchised communities, you know,
Yeah, whatever
water,
works.
and maybe done in a way strategically that alleviates some of the economic burden on landowners. That's my grandiose vision. So, large-scale habitat restoration with multiple benefits.
So we're doing like dreams and then resources and then challenges.
Or,
For me, it's like no large investment corporation agriculture, only small and medium farms, and desert adapted crops.
So basically, like no large-scale corporate farms or corporate farms.
Only small and medium farms and desert agriculture.
Great. I think for me, it's more that folks really come together and develop a kind of a whole range of stakeholders come together and really develop a shared vision that they can really all get behind. And that it is, I guess, really the kind of essence of that is like to what end it really is that the basin really becomes a model of inspiration and hope. And that is based upon kind of more regenerative, restorative approaches that have real practical benefit and application. So like the economy is stronger,
supposedly a break at 1:45. I was thinking we could squeeze the break a little bit.
Yeah, let's do that because that one, we just had a long lunch.
equity elements
Cool.
are
All right,
addressed
thanks.
as well. So that's, I think that's kind of the, I mean, ideally, and maybe the Sequoia Sloughs is sort of a great kind of launch point for that, but
Yeah. I don't think I caught all that. Okay, so my dream was kind of similar to Daniel's there. It's Daniel, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But basically, just connecting the tributaries down to the lake basin, being able to provide good riparian forest habitat along those, and then connecting to the lake. Not just being, I know the lake's not going to come back completely, but just having a representation of wetland habitat, desert scrub habitat, and grassland habitat that complement each other. And we haven't really got into this, but in doing this cooperatively with the agricultural community, the community at large, and conservation community.
that's kind of my sense too. Where everyone's invested in it, and no one's a loser as a result. Right? Everyone's kind of a part of it.
I mean, like, part of me, though, and this is maybe outside of this discussion, is like, is that possible? Because I feel like with the state of water resources, I feel like there are going to be losers. You know, there are going to be winners. But to, like, just to make that hurt, you know, or that pain, like, I don't know, help alleviate some of that, I guess.
Yeah, there is sort of that. What do you call that? That sort of the equitable transition kind of concept, right? Where whoever doesn't have to. Like a classic example is like coal miners, right? Where they, you don't just kind of shut down the operations and give them another career path, another way.
So we are.
Other challenges, really? No.
Right, no, this is fine, we got this.
Do you want to have like different color?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Good idea.
I don't know how we're going to do this in 10 minutes.
Yeah, yours might be a challenge, right?
Yeah, I think like ours, similar ideas like the conservation piece too, is just like finding landowners who are willing to cooperate, I guess, and like a larger, maybe landscape scale, like concerted effort. Right? Like how do you piece together this vision of like habitat connectivity from like, you know, the Sequoia, the slough, or whatever it is, you know, like, you know, Kern to Pixley.
Can I put the mic?
Ping.
Can I put the mic?
So we've got about 3 minutes before we transition back to whole group discussion. And so this would be a good time to start sending your delegates up with posting your dreams, your challenges, and your resources that you've talked about.
If it's possible, I would want to have it that way.
Because part of
3
my resource
minutes.
component is siloing when people are so focused on nature aspects. They don't include the socio-cultural and economic components. So we create these really amazing solutions that don't have real world applications because they don't.
They're gonna. We'll leave them, but we'll have them leave them. Yeah. We'll
gather about
yeah.
the mission and the guiding principles of the Socio-Economic Basin Watershed Partnership Network.
Thank you, Jack and Adriana, for coming up and posting. Much appreciated.
So all those things have already been thought of, and part of what we're doing here is working towards that. Sometimes you have to remind them.
You're following directions. Good job.
So it would be important to tie that line of thinking into that.
Because you can inspire first graders.
We have 2 minutes left in this session, so you should start sending your delegates up to post your various dreams and challenges and resources that you've talked about.
Ability to actually engage with
the value has to be common from day one to.
Let's fill up these large poster boards over here.
I guess for me anyway, the resources we need would be larger, so they're big. To the Basin Watershed Partnership Network, which I'm a little focused on Socio Basin Watershed Network, but it's a huge basin.
You can do all of them. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Dreams, resources, challenges.
It goes all the way. The Socio Lake Basin goes all the way to the all the way to the taxpayer on the western.
Then we just ask them.
They provide all these.
That's exactly what it is. If they were, so that's why they have like, if a farmer would get,
I feel like it's both, actually, to me, because it's definitely a dream, and also like programs are being set up that are resources. So I think you could
check for a lot of them because you provided you check from the carbon. Whoever, CNRA or whatever, because you're sequestering carbon for the rest.
So we've got about 1 minute left before we come back to the whole group, so make sure that your group is represented up here on these poster boards.
I'm getting compensated for what I produce. And I think farmers will be like, sure, because they want to be farmers. The ranchers, they say, it's like, tell us how to
in this next 10 minutes, I'm going to be opening up the floor for people to share, so we're going to need the other mic and the other one.
And take care of living things. It's a natural good, but it's like, all we pay them for is their beef. What they want to do is produce beef. It's really a no-brainer.
Dream is the idea that diversity in all aspects is important. So diversity of crops begets diversity of life, which begets diversity.
If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap 2 times. All right, thank you. Pays to be a camp counselor. All right, so thank you so much for coming up and posting all these wonderful ideas. Please don't throw away the ideas that have not yet made their way up onto the boards. The Watershed Partnership is definitely interested in all of the ideas, so you can just kind of leave them on your table and we'll make sure that everything kind of gets collected and synthesized. But for this last 10-ish minutes, what I want to do is open up the floor to the whole group and invite people to share something that you learned from one of your conversation partners or that you learned in your group, something that was maybe surprising to you, and something that resonated with something that you'd already been thinking. So floor is open. We'll have a microphone ready to go around if you'll just raise your hand. And the floor is open for the next 10 minutes to kind of synthesize the conversations that we've had.
I was really surprised at the similarities within our diverse group of two, starting off with a pair, very parallel, and then broadening that, doubling that to the 4. We had a very common themes and ideals. So that was good.
Thanks, Bruce.
So I'm going there. Here, okay, just.
Maybe this wasn't a surprise, but to piggyback off that, we have somewhat different backgrounds, but we all really have the same goals and wants and challenges, and maybe our way to get there looks a little bit different, but we all really want the same thing. And I think that's important to keep in mind as maybe things sometimes get contentious, but we're all working to make this place better. And I think that's important to remember.
Yeah, thank you for building on that. I think, we're so polarized right now as a society, and I think there's a lot of a tendency to assume, these are the people who agree with me, and these are the people who probably don't agree with me. But it reminds me of a metaphor I saw once where people are trying to solve a problem and standing on either side of a table and pushing it at each other, right? And what they needed to do was come around everyone on the same side of the table, and then we could move it together. So thank you for that.
So I'm going to say the same thing in a different way, which I guess is appropriate for the theme. Among our group, we all had concepts about how to do some landscape scale changes that would lead us towards a similar goal of sustainability. And I think the takeaway for me is that there are a lot of different ways that we could accomplish that. Like, there's not one hard and fast direction that we need to take. There's no single answer that we're all going to come into rooms like this and figure out. What we need to do is negotiate our way to a path that is acceptable to and provides the least amount of friction among the society and the environment and the kind of cultural world that we live in.
It's going to be your hand.
Thank you. Two quick things. In our group, we all mentioned about the generational change in leadership. Some of us mentioning about the need for generational change in leadership, and some experiencing the effects and what's happened with the generational change in leadership. The other thing is, I think there was a common comment, goal need for public access to natural resources.
Within our group, I noticed that water was very persistent on a lot of our tabs, and so I think the hydrologic restoration is a common theme in this room.
I think what we found most consistent with ours was the fact that there needed to be people who would be our solution leaders. There needs to be the individuals within a community that can help make it all happen, to unite them and make it as one community, not many.
We probably have time for one or two more comments. We need the microphone for the recording.
So one of the things that struck me was how we were in agreement, but there was a whole diversity of perspectives. Everybody brought something unique to the table, and the whole was greater than the sum of the parts. And that's the whole thing about bringing the stakeholders together and having them all contribute, because then you hear things that you might not hear otherwise, right?
Can I build on that, Barbara?
Sure. There you go, Michelle.
I was just reflecting that Ashley from SRT and I started out with the same dreams, but we had very different challenges in view and very different resources also in view. So if we can all come to the table with all of these different perspectives, knowledge areas, and resources that we are aware of, then what change could we make?
Beautiful. All right, do you want to have the last word? And then we'll go to a quick break.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and just to add on to what you're saying, if you guys have different challenges and different resources, that might mesh together so you overlap and don't have those challenges and resources when you work together, or resource gaps.
It all fits together. All right, so we're going to go to a quick break. This is just, let me check the time real quick. So we'll try to be back here in our seats by 2. And then we're having a panel on the multi-benefit land repurposing, Actually, no, I take that back. We're having a speaker on multi-benefit land repurposing. And so this will be a quick break. Grab something more to drink, and then come back for some more good information. Thanks, everybody. Give yourselves a round of applause.